Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylee, and on this channel we talk all things true crime, travel, lifestyle, and just generalized vlogs. So if you don't think that true crime is your thing, don't worry, there will be something here on the channel that you will enjoy. Now, usually I give you a warning about our true crime videos, and today is no exception, but today I am really pushing it out there. Today's video and case is horrific. There is extreme detail, and our victim in this case is a 9-year-old girl. So if you think that this will be a trigger for you and you're not comfortable with this subject and this case, please click to another video. Today's case is about 9-year-old Ebony Simpson, and I am going to just jump straight into it. Ebony was born on the 22nd of December 1982 to Peter and Christine Simpson. Now, she was the third child born into the family, but she was their little girl. There were two older brothers to Ebony, but when Ebony arrived, she really completed the family, and, Peter and Christine, they now had their little baby girl. Ebony was a beautiful little 9-year-old girl. She was very affectionate and loving. She had a great relationship with her mum, Christine, and she also loved to hang out with her family and her friends from school. She was always known as being a bubbly, bright little girl. Peter and Christine moved the family to Bargo in New South Wales, where they wanted the family to have that country lifestyle and really live out in the peace and the happiness of a country town. But then on Wednesday, the 19th of August, 1992, tragedy struck the family. Ebony was catching the bus home from school like she did every day, and usually her mum, Christine, would make it to the bus stop to walk her home. Now, the home was only a kilometre from the bus stop, but every day Christine would arrive there and walk with Ebony home. On this day, though, Christine, she was not going to make it. She was running late from some errands and some things that she was doing in the town itself. And she asked Ebony's older brother if she could meet with him at the bus stop and he would walk her home. Now, unfortunately, his bus arrived later than it was meant to, which meant that he missed Ebony getting off the bus. Now, he just assumed that Ebony had already made the walk home, and so he starts heading off himself. Now, it wasn't long before he got home that Christine had also arrived home. She was only ever going to be just a few minutes late. But when Christine arrived home, she knew something was wrong the instant she got to her front door. She seen that Ebony's school shoes were not there, and she already started to panic. She had that mother's intuition that she just knew something was wrong. She starts frantically searching for Ebony in the house and realizes that she's nowhere to be seen. She then starts going up and down the road from the bus stop to their home and in the surrounding farmland, which she just went looking everywhere for Ebony. It's at this time too that Peter then is contacted, and he also contacts the police instantly. The search starts for Ebony straight away. The police arrive at Peter and Christine's home, and the search is well underway within the 2 hours after she has been reported missing. Now, during the search, the local town, they all start, coming forth and saying they want to help. And during this time, an elderly gentleman comes to the police hub that has now been set up out the front of Peter and Christine's home. And he says that his sons were driving home, and now they live very close to Peter and Christine. And they said that they actually saw Ebony walking home. They remember that it was Ebony distinctively because they waved to her and she waved back to the boys. The boys in the car also said that they had seen a yellow car parked on the side of the road, and there was somebody there with the bonnet up. There must have been something wrong with the engine because he was in the engine bay. Over 200 people from the Bargo area joined in on the search with police and the rescue teams and things like that. Everybody was out looking for Ebony. Now, when all the searching was happening, police were, of course, still going back and forth from Peter and Christine. And during one of their discussions with Christine, they told Christine about the yellow car that had been seen. Christine also says that she had also seen this car and had seen the guy that was there at the car, but she didn't take any notice of it. It was just she drove past and it was just somebody on the side of the road. But she did have a very clear idea of what he looked like. Now, the people of the town and the police, they searched throughout the night, and the very next day, more police teams arrived to help the search. And when one of the teams arrive, they go to the police hub and start discussing, who exactly are we looking for? What details do you have? And it's during this that they say that not only now are they looking for Ebony, they are now also going to look for this yellow car. It just so happens that the latest police team that had walked into the police hub had walked past a yellow car. They instantly remembered it and directed the police into the vicinity of where this car is parked. It had seemed that whoever had a car very similar to the one that the police were looking for had now also joined in the search. Now, of course, at the same time that the searches are happening, police are also still consoling and talking to Peter and Christine. Christine gives the detectives a clear sketch of what she remembers the person looked like. Now, the sketch is taken out again to the police hub, and so it is able to be distributed amongst the other police officers. Again, though, as it's being distributed, the police officers say, I have seen this person. He is here helping with the search. Now, it's not long before some of the search parties begin to return back to the police hub to, get either new coordinates or go through the process of what's going to happen next in their search areas. But the police realize that the person that they're looking for, who is very similar to this sketch, has arrived back from one of the search teams. Now, the police wait for this guy to head towards his car, and as soon as he does, they go over and start questioning him. They would like to know if they could take photos of the car, if they can have a look at the car, and they go along the lines of telling this guy that they want to use images of his car to, help the locals in finding a car that's similar to this, and would it be okay if they take photos of it? He has no problems at all. He doesn't object, it's not an issue, and he's very accommodating to the officers. As soon as this guy agrees, the police take the car into custody. Now, the owner of the car was Andrew Garforth, and he was born on the 5th of August 1963. Andrew had lived throughout all different parts of Australia, and he did have a criminal record, but it was for petty things like theft and random little things along the way throughout his life. He was currently married and living in the Bargo area, and he had openly said that he had just come down to help the police look for the missing girl, and to, assist in any way that he could. But it wasn't long before police took Andrew into custody for questioning. The police asked Andrew where he has been and what were his whereabouts throughout the day that Ebony had disappeared, and throughout the questioning he remained cool, calm and collected, almost to the point where the officers were second guessing their approach on how they should go for him. At one hand, they thought, they need to find Ebony. She is still missing. Should they just go straight at it hard and just be like, where is she? You tell us now. Or do they need to treat him as, this is a very big coincidence and this guy has come out to help, and, how should we assess the situation? So they do go down the more easy path of questioning with Andrew, and during this he explains that he was just going to get a video from the local video store. When they re-asked him the same question though, he had a different answer, and he realised that he had slipped up. It wasn't long before Andrew then said, "The young girl walked past my car, I grabbed her and put her in the boot." Within 15 minutes of the police questioning starting, Andrew had confessed to kidnapping little Ebony when she was walking home from school. He said to the officers that he had put her in the boot and driven her out to a dam in a nearby area. It was very secluded. He then tied Ebony's hands and feet together and sexually assaults the girl. He then ties her backpack to her after filling it to weigh her down, and he throws poor Ebony into the dam, which was 8 meters from the bank. At this point, the police, they don't know if Ebony is alive or has died, and they rush to the scene. Andrew Garforth agrees to show the police the exact location, and they take him along so that he can point out where this has happened. When they do get there, they see that the pink backpack is actually floating on the water, and they realize that Ebony is still in the dam. She had indeed drowned after Andrew had thrown her into the water. Throughout this whole ordeal, Andrew does not show any remorse or any sort of emotion towards what has happened. He eagerly points out the area and things like that to the police, and it was noted that he just had no remorse at all. At 2 a.m. that evening, the police then do notify Peter and Christine that unfortunately Ebony has been found, but it was just too late for her. Now, of course, the entire town of Bargo were just outraged that this had happened, and when Andrew arrived at the courthouse, he was slammed with people screaming abuse at him and telling him that he was going to die. As he walked in the courthouse, again though, he was showing no remorse. He was an emotionalist vessel going into the courthouse. Andrew's trial got underway, and the police, they had an exceptional amount of evidence against Andrew. They had fingerprints in the boot of his car that were Ebony's. There were footprints at the dam that matched Ebony's and Andrew's feet. There was a hair of Ebony's on Andrew's jumper that he had been wearing that day, and there was also DNA found on Ebony's body that belonged to Andrew. There was no need for the police to bring forth any of this evidence though, because Andrew pleaded guilty straight away on the very first day of trial. Andrew Garforth was sentenced to life in prison. Now here in Australia, if you get life, you still have the a possibility of getting out within 14 years on parole. But under this case and the new legislation that had just been brought in at the time, life in Australia now means life. So Andrew, he will never be released from prison, and in fact the judge throughout the case made sure that it was written on his file never to be released. There is no way that Andrew will ever get out on parole, and he will never ever be released from prison. Andrew is still currently alive and in the prison system, and it was a couple of years ago now that he had actually applied for victims of crime compensation. He had been bashed a couple of times in prison, obviously being a child abuser and a pedophile that has not sat well with some of the other people in prison, and he has been targeted numerous times. Now, he was not granted the full amount from the victims of crime compensation. At one point, he did win a settlement, but it was overturned, and the money that he was going to be granted was then granted to charity. In December of 1995, Ebony House is opened up as a tribute to young Ebony. The facility now helps with counselling and helping those people who have been affected by a loved one's murder. Now, this has also come forth and helped the police, because now they're able to counsel and help the police to help further families that have had someone, taken away by murder and things like that, and how best to help the family in these times of need when they really do need someone to, assist and help with their feelings and acceptance, or not even acceptance, but, to help the family in their biggest time of need. Now, this case has been one of the hardest that I've actually had to look into for the research part of it. It just made me absolutely sick. Now, I didn't go into full detail about what actually happened to Ebony, because some of the things, look, they're just too sick to put out there into the world. I don't feel like that's something that everybody needs to know about. But I just don't understand this guy's brain thoughts when he thought he was then going to join the search. Was he going to try and lead people away from where he had left poor Ebony, or what was this idiot thinking? Just pure dumb. I just want to express my deepest sympathies and condolences to Ebony's entire family and to the entire community of the town. This has no doubt affected many people on many different levels, and I'm just, my deepest sympathies and condolences to you all. Again, though, this is one of those cases that really just sparks to me. We should most certainly have the death penalty for people like this. I read later on throughout it, in 2021, he will have cost the New South Wales government or whatever system $8-point-something million to keep him alive all these years, to keep him fed and watered and entertained in a prison cell. That's not right. We should have had the death penalty. There's no need for him to be on the planet with us. And I am sure that will go against some people's beliefs, and that's fine. You can have your beliefs, I will have mine on this matter. I don't see why this man should be on the earth breathing the same air as the rest of us. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please consider hitting it. It really does help our channel grow. And please remember, take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!